The XP-86 was a prototype jet fighter developed by North American Aviation Company, and as it was one of the U.S.'s early jet aircraft, it played a crucial role in the transition from propeller-driven aircraft to jet turbine aircraft. The development of what would eventually evolve into XP-86 was initiated by the U.S. Navy, and after seeing a potential new jet fighter, the U.S. Army Air Force, or USAAF, also showed interest in the project. Although it initially failed to reach its expected performance, thanks to captured German jet technology research, the XP-86 design would be improved and refined, creating a base for the famous and widely used F-86 Sabre jet fighter aircraft. The famous F-86 Sabre began its life as a North American aviation project designated as NA-134, initiated by the U.S. Navy. As the war in the Pacific edged towards its climax, the Navy was making plans to acquire jet-powered carrier-based aircraft which could be pressed into service in time for the planned invasion of Japan in 1946. Work on this project began in late autumn of 1944. The Navy ordered 3 prototypes under the designation XFJ-1 on the 1st of January 1945. As the North American Company was working on the project for the Navy, it was also approached by the USAAF, which wanted a medium-range day fighter that could be used as an escort fighter and a dive bomber. Specifications called for a speed of at least 965 kilometers an hour or 600 miles per hour. On the 22nd of November 1944, a modified version of the FXJ-1 was proposed to the USAAF, although this design was known in company records as NA-140. The USAAF was sufficiently impressed and issued a contract for the acquisition of 3 such aircraft prototypes under the XP-86 designation in May 1945. The XP-86 incorporated several innovative features, such as a fully pressurized cockpit and hydraulically boosted ailerons and elevators. Armament was more or less standard with 6 12.7mm Browning M3 machine guns. The aircraft was to use the Sperry-type A-1B gun bomb rocket sight, working in conjunction with an AN AP-5 ranging radar. Self-sealing fuel tanks were to be fitted, and the pilot was to be provided with some armor plating around the cockpit area. A mock-up of the XP-86 was built and approved on the 20th of June 1945. However, early wind tunnel tests indicated that the airframe of the XP-86 would not be able to reach the desired speed of 965 kilometers per hour. It is highly likely that the XP-86 project would have been canceled at this time if it were not for some unusual developments. Luckily for the North American Company, the whole project took an unexpected turn with the conclusion of the war in Europe. After the surrender of Germany, the USAAF was keenly interested in obtaining information about the latest German jet propulsion, rocket power, and ballistic missile technologies. By the summer of 1945, a great deal of German data was pouring in. As it turned out, German aeronautical engineers had wind tunnel tested just about every aerodynamic shape that the human mind could conceive of, even some ideas even only remotely promising. A particular German paper dated 1940 reported that wind tunnel tests showed that there were some significant advantages offered by swept wings at speeds of about Mach 0.9. A straight-winged aircraft was severely affected by compressibility effects as sonic speed was approached, but the use of a swept wing delayed the effects of shock waves and permitted better control at these higher speeds. Unfortunately, German research also indicated that the use of wing sweep introduced some undesirable wingtip stall and low-speed stability effects. Such studies caught the attention of North American engineers trying to develop ways to improve the performance of their XP-86. In August of 1945, project aerodynamicist L.P. Green proposed that a swept-wing configuration for the XP-86 be adopted. Before, this aircraft was to be provided with P-51 wings. Wind tunnel tests carried out in September of 1945 confirmed the reduction in drag at high subsonic speeds, as well as the beneficial effect of the slats on low-speed stability. Based on these wind tunnel studies, a new design for a swept wing was submitted in the fall of 1945. The USAAF was impressed, and on the 1st of November 1945, it readily approved the proposal. North American's next step was to choose the aspect ratio of the swept wing. A larger aspect ratio would give a better range, a narrower one better stability, and the correct choice would have to be a trade-off between the two. Further tests carried out between late October and mid-November indicated that a wing aspect ratio of 6 would be satisfactory. However, early in 1946, additional wind tunnel tests indicated that stability with such a narrow wing would be too great a problem, and in March, the design reverted to a shorter wing form. An aspect ratio of 4.79, a sweep back of 35 degrees, and a thickness to chord ratio of 11% at the root and 10% at the tip were finally chosen. On the 28th of February, 1946, the mock-up of the swept-wing XP-86 was inspected and approved. In August of 1946, the basic engineering drawings were made available to the manufacturing shop of North American. The USAAF was so confident of the future performance of the XP-86 that, in December 1946, another contract for 33 production P-86As was approved. The first of 3 prototypes was rolled out of the Inglewood factory on the 8th of 1947. It was powered by a Chevrolet-built J35C3 turbojet rated at 1,815 kilograms or 4,000 pounds of static thrust. The aircraft was unarmed. Test pilot George Welch took the XP-86 up into the air for the first time on the 1st of October 1947. The flight went well until it came time to lower the landing gear and come in for a landing. Welch found that the nose wheel wouldn't come down all the way. After spending 40 minutes in fruitless attempts to shake the nose wheel down into place, Welch finally brought the plane in for a high-nose landing. Fortunately, the impact of the main wheels jolted the nose wheel into place, and the aircraft rolled safely to a stop. The swept-wing XP-86 had made its first flight. The XP-86 first prototype was officially delivered to the United States Air Force on the 30th of November 1948. In June of 1948, the new U.S. Air Force redesignated all pursuit aircraft as fighter aircraft, changing the prefix from P to F. Thus, the XP-86 became the XF-86. The second and third XP-86 prototypes joined the test program in early 1948. These were different from the first prototype, as well as being different from each other in several respects. Numbers 1 and 2 had different fuel gauges, a stall warning system built into the control stick, a bypass for emergency operation of the hydraulic boost system, and hydraulically actuated leading-edge slat locks. The number 3 prototype was the only one of the 3 to have fully automatic leading-edge slats that opened at 57 kilometers per hour or 135 miles per hour. Evolving from the NA-134 project, which had wings borrowed from the Mustang, the XP-86 would eventually end up with a low swept wing mounted onto a tubular fuselage, with a large jet intake opening at the nose. The plexiglass bubble canopy gave the pilot great visibility and afforded the use of a pressurized cockpit. The tail featured a swept-back rudder with tail planes angled upwards. The landing gear was a tricycle configuration, which helped balance the weight of the jet engine at the rear. The wings of the XP-86 were constructed of a double-skin structure with hat sections between layers extending from the center section to the outboard edges of the outer panel fuel tanks. This structure replaced the conventional rib and stringer construction in that area, providing additional strength and allowing enough space in the wings for fuel tanks. It featured a hydraulic door-type brake mounted on each side of the rear fuselage, and one brake mounted on the bottom of the fuselage in a dorsal position. The speed brakes opened frontwards and had the advantage that they could be opened at any altitude and speed, including speeds above Mach 1. The maximum speed of the XP-86 was over 1,047 kilometers per hour or 650 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour or 75 miles per hour faster than anything else in service at the time. The noise and vibration levels were considerably lower than other jet-powered aircraft as well. However, its engine did not produce enough thrust, and the XP-86 could only climb at 1,220 meters or 4,000 feet per minute. This was not seen as a major issue as the production version was expected to be equipped with a stronger engine. Prototype number 3 was the only one to be fitted with armament. The armament of 6 12.7mm machine guns were mounted in blocks of 3 on either side of the cockpit. Ammunition bays were installed in the bottom of the fuselage underneath the gun bay, with as many as 300 rounds per gun. There is actually a possibility that the XP-86, rather than the Bell XS-1, might have been the first American aircraft to achieve supersonic flight. During some of his early flight tests, George Welch reported that he had encountered some rather unusual fluctuations in his airspeed and altitude indicators during high-speed dives, which might have meant that he had exceeded the speed of sound. However, at that time, North America had no way of calibrating airspeed indicators into the transonic range above Mach 1, so it's uncertain just how fast Welch had gone. On the 14th of October 1947, Chuck Yeager exceeded Mach 1 in the XS-1. Although the event was kept secret from the general public, North American test crews heard about this feat through rumors, and persuaded the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics to use its equipment to track the XP-86 in a high-speed dive to see if there was a possibility that it could also go supersonic. This test was done on the 19th of October, 5 days after Yeager's flight, in which George Welch was tracked at Mach 1.02. The tests were flown again on the 21st of October with the same results. Since Welch had been performing the very same flight patterns in tests before the 14th of October, there is the possibility that he, not Chuck Yeager, might have been the first to exceed the speed of sound. In any case, the fact that the XP-86 had exceeded the speed of sound was immediately classified, and remained so for several months afterwards. In May of 1948, the world was informed that George Welch had exceeded Mach 1.0 in the XP-86, becoming the first American aircraft to do so. The three prototypes remained in various test and evaluation roles well into the 1950s, before all three were sold for scrap after being used in nuclear tests at Frenchman Flats in Nevada. This concludes our look at the North American XP-86 test aircraft. What do you think about this aircraft that set the stage for a generation of new U.S. jet fighters? Would you like us to take a look at the production version? Let us know in the comments. If you like what we do and want to see more, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single video. Also, don't forget to take a look at our extensive collection of articles on our website, plane-encyclopedia.com. Thank you.